Ladies, are you having gray or white discharge going on down there? Do you have maybe pain, itching, or burning? A strong fish-like odor? Or do you maybe have some burning going on while you're peeing? If you do, well, baby, you need to pull up a seat and listen up because we got a real issue going on here that we need to fix. Hello, my name is Callista, EMTB. I do just so happen to be of the feminine species that possesses the same anatomy that we're going to be discussing today, so that makes me the most qualified to help you out with this issue, so just keep on listening. Let's go ahead and start off with the basics, and that's going to be the classification of this bacteria that we're going to be discussing today, which does happen to be Gardnerella Vaginalis. It is a facultative anaerobic bacterium, which we did actually go over the growth characteristics of bacteria in lab number 9. This facultative anaerobic bacterium does possess a thin gram-positive cell wall, but it is considered to be gram-variable because it can either appear gram-positive or gram-negative under the microscope due to the varying visibility of its thin cell wall, which we did learn about Gardnerella and it being gram-variable in chapter 4.4 of our e-text. And then moving right along into the morphology of Gardnerella, it is a non-spore-forming, non-motile cocobacillus. The bacterium can grow to form small gray colonies on both chocolate and human blood tween agar, and a selective media for Gardnerella is colistin oxalinic acid blood sugar, which we did learn about different medias in lab number 3. So Gardnerella vaginalis is a bacteria that normally exists within the vaginal flora to help keep it infection free. Gardnerella vaginalis does or can contribute to a few different diseases. However, the most prevalent one that it causes and is associated with anytime there's any type of overgrowth of Gardnerella vaginalis is bacterial vaginosis. Bacterial vaginosis, or I might refer to it as BV, is associated with preterm birth and increased risk for acquisition of human immunodeficiency virus, or HIV. I literally just tried to say that so many times. And other sexually transmitted infections, or STIs. Although Gardnerella is not considered to be contagious, the role of transmissibility is yet to be completely understood. It is thought to be spread among individuals through sexual intercourse who are dirty. Anyway. It may alter the natural balance of bacteria that does exist within the vagina, and this imbalance can lead to the development of BV. Factors that may play a role in the development of bacterial vaginosis include frequent tub baths, douching, multiple sex partners, use of over-the-counter intravaginal hygiene products, and increased frequency of sexual intercourse. Studies have detected G. vaginalis in up to 50% of women, even without symptoms of BV. Who is susceptible? BV is the most common vaginal infection found in women of reproductive age and is estimated to occur in 5 to 70% of women. Gardnerella has consistently been isolated as a key pathogen in BV. Prevalence of BV increases based on lifetime number of sexual partners, and non-white women do have higher rates for some reason of contracting this. For African Americans, it is 51%, Mexican Americans, it's 32%, and for Caucasian women, it's 23%. In order to diagnose bacterial vaginosis, most women will present with a complaint of malodorous vaginal discharge, which often becomes more pronounced after sexual intercourse. A diagnosis of BV is suggested by a higher than normal vaginal pH, which is greater than 4.5, the presence of clue cells on a wet mount slide, and a positive whiff test. A drop of sodium chloride solution is placed on the wet mount slide containing some of the swab specimens, and the slide is examined under the microscope for visualization of the characteristic clue cells. The whiff test is performed by adding a small amount of potassium hydroxide to the microscopic slide containing the vaginal discharge and is considered to be positive if a characteristic fishy scent is revealed. Occasionally, a gram stain of the vaginal fluid is still done to examine the predominant strain of bacteria to make a microbiological diagnosis of BV, which we did learn about gram staining in lab number 5. For treatments of bacterial vaginosis, asymptomatic Gardnerella colonization does not need to be treated usually. It has even been reported that up to 30% of cases of BV may even resolve on its own without treatment. However, if a patient is bothered by the symptoms of BV or is pregnant, it should be treated with either oral or vaginal clindamycin or metronidazole. Unfortunately, it has been shown that recurrence may happen in up to 80% of women even after treatment. If a patient presents with recurrent symptoms, a second course of antibiotics is typically prescribed. Now, for prevention of bacterial vaginosis, it's actually pretty simple. Number 1, you can just not have sex in general, or you can start by limiting your number of lifetime sex partners, not douching, like using things like Summer's Eve. Aside from what maybe a lot of people might think like, oh, this is cleansing me or making me feel more fresh, it's actually really harmful for your body and for the natural bacteria that does exist within your vagina to be doing things like that. You could maybe do it as like a one-time emergency type of thing if you're just like really not feeling that fresh, but baby, like we just need to stay away from doing stuff like that, okay? And then using condoms the right way every time you have sex. For a little fact about Gardnerella, it was actually named after Herman L. Gardner. Love that. Let's name female stuff after more men, who discovered the bacterium in 1955. I do have a few questions after researching this bacterium that I would like to present to you that you can answer if you would want. Question number 1. It seems that the mode of transmission is just a bit unclear or to be completely understood, but how do you think that sexual intercourse plays a part in this? Be descriptive. Why do you think that certain races or ethnicities are more susceptible than others for contracting this? And lastly, what do you think is most effective for preventing contraction of this? What do you feel that men can do on their part to help women from contracting bacterial vaginosis? Thank you for listening, and I hope that I helped solve all of your problems.